Robbie Bacon, Associate Editor at RideApart, here in Milan, testing out Cardo's Beyond GTS active noise cancelling system. Usually I'd be a bit worried about hearing loss, but I'm pretty confident, having used Cardo for a long time, that they're not going to blow the eardrums off me. But you're about to hear just how loud it gets in there. This wind tunnel is about to start up. Guess I'm going to turn the visor down, pull it down. Okay, here we go. ANC is off, I hope, because it's bloody loud in here. Alright, I'm going to turn it on and see what happens. Alright, definitely feeling it down a little bit. Let me hear a bit of music. Alright, ANC on. Oh yeah, music and a bit of ANC. Oh, and when I put myself into a nice little riding position here, yeah, we are looking good. Okay, now let's see what it's like if we turn up the visor while the ANC is on. Oh God, I am blind, but I'm still hearing very well. Oh my God. Alright, this is definitely making a difference. And I can hear the music pretty well. Yeah, alright. I'm not sure if it's as powerful as, earplugs, but definitely making a decent difference for your daily ride. Alright. Done and dusted. Alright, I'm just out of the wind tunnel. You might not be able to tell it by my slick hair, but I am just out of the wind tunnel. And the wind, I actually had no idea how fast it was going, and it's probably down to the active noise cancellation. It was set to 120 kilometers an hour, so about 70 miles an hour. There's around a 10 decibel reduction at that speed. So yeah, I think you will get some more from certain earplugs, but this is designed to take away the noises that harm. And when I opened the visor, I was the most surprised because it was still working. So as soon as I opened the visor, I was expecting, as you would, crazy disorientating wind, and all I got was blinded, but I still could hear and I wasn't disorientated. Apart from that, the 53mm speakers, the biggest you're going to find on any media system going on in a helmet, provide unbelievable sound. And I was skeptical because it's an in-house development, not JBL like before, but it is the best sound so far I reckon I've heard on a helmet. I would need to test it out a bit more to tell you really like how it stands up to everything, but definitely impressed with how well the speaker sound stood up with the noise cancelling when I opened the visor. It was yeah, it was an experience that I hadn't really felt before. So for sure, here today, the Cardo Beyond GTS stands up to what it says it does. A couple of weeks after the madness of EICMA, I've had a chance to reflect on Cardo's Beyond GTS, and I want to start on the feature I think is the most important, which is the active noise cancelling. Now, I'll throw my hands up and say I probably didn't do enough when I was younger to... No, I didn't do enough when I was younger to block out harmful noises, and now earplugs are about as important as a helmet to me. I won't leave on a ride without them. But I usually use the bog standard squishy yellow ones. And while they do a very good job of blocking out all noise, they completely block out, more or less, music, which was not the case when using active noise cancelling on Cardo's helmet. And I've also used filtered earplugs, which block out harmful noises, but let in things like horns or the sound of an engine or what have you that you might need to hear while riding. But whether it's the filtered earplugs or the squishy yellow ones, the problem is always the same. On the highway, I can't hear my music. And at the same time, I'm not going deaf from the wind noise, and that's great. But when you want to hear music, it's when you're eating up monotonous miles at highway speeds. And that's when I can't hear the music through something like a Cardo unit. When I can hear the music is going through a town or a city at pretty low speeds. And that's when I really don't need to hear the music that much. I have a lot going on, a lot I need to focus on. Or when you're going through a twisty road and it's below 70 miles an hour and you can just focus and have fun on the road. That's why we ride bikes. Well, when you're facing 5 hours on the highway and you know once you get up to speed, the music is going to be just a blur. Well, that's where the Beyond GTS might come into play, because what I noticed in the wind tunnel was the wind reduction was constant, and apparently it's 10 decibels lower at 70 miles an hour, but I could hear the music, really hear it, to the point that if this is going to be the quality of the active noise cancelling and the music in the real world at 70 miles an hour on the highway, it will absolutely change people's perspective on using earplugs. At the end of the day, you're going to have to wait until this helmet comes out to put it up against your filtered earplugs and your standard yellow squishy ones. Because if it doesn't hold up in real world environment tests, then I don't see people paying $1,200 for this feature when you could just put in filtered earplugs and hear the music just as badly. So if that feature doesn't stand up, there is one more that I found particularly interesting that still might be enough to win people over, and it's the damage alert, basically your helmet health. The helmet health system is essentially controlled by a little computer in the back of the helmet. It tells you, well, first of all, is your helmet safe to use? Because we've all been there where you, or even worse, your friend drops your helmet and you hear that crack and you go, oh no, am I going to be able to use this again? Or do I have to get a new one? And you're kind of rolling the dice. This system tells you, hey, you're good to go, or it can count cumulative impacts and tell you eventually, hey, you've had one too many, this is not safe anymore. I can already hear folks saying, I'll take helmets from trusted helmet manufacturers. But Cardo's had this thing in development for 5 years, and it meets ECE 2206, DOT. If you think your trusted helmet manufacturers are far surpassing those standards, I hate to tell you, but you're probably wrong. Now, how it stands up to wear and tear, how reliable the electronics are, none of that is known. That's something we have to discover over time. But if you're just going to discount it because it's a Cardo helmet, I think it's a bit unfair. And those electronics should stand up because it is a $1,200 helmet. And while I have you, I want to take this moment to ask you to like and subscribe, because my editor told me if we get 1,000 subscribers from this video, I'll get a raise. But it really does help the continuation of me delivering this groundbreaking news to your eyes and ears. So if you can just get your thumb free, or your little finger even, and just tap subscribe, like, it would help so much. Now back to it. While I was at the stall, I got the chance to test out the rear braking light. And while it's not connected to the brakes, it will light up when your head moves forward with enough force to activate it. And what I really want to know is, will engine braking be enough to activate this light? Obviously not very, very slow, soft engine braking, but hard engine braking that sometimes puts motorcyclists into danger, because if you don't activate the brake lights and you're on a big V-twin or a huge single, you're going to slow down so fast and the car behind you won't know why. It might not even detect it until it's too late. So I gave it a little shake test and it did light up, but I'd love to have it on my head and see if slamming down through the gears actually gets it to light up. To tie everything up, this is the piece of kit I was most impressed by at EICMA, and the one I think deserves the most testing in the real world. And if it stands up to these tests, I believe it'll make commuters or even tourers' lives easier. It might even make the journeys more enjoyable. So until we get our hands on this helmet, I've been Robbie Bacon and you've been you. Cheers.